So, as a disclaimer, or however you want to do it, obviously the chat is involved, like is encouraged. Like, give us your thoughts and opinions. Now, as we go through this list will be our potential options. Now, we will talk about hot takes later on, and the hot take section will be cards where you're like, "Oh, I want this to happen just because." Everything else would have justification behind it. We're not just slapping it on there for the sake of it, and you have to be a little bit open minded. Unfortunately, there will be decks out there that do become collateral damage for um, generic engines. So mainly, when we talk about DDD High Wave King Caesar, let's not lose our minds. There will be justification behind it. But what I like about Banlist is that, well, at least the discussion about them is that they open up debate and discussions and talks about it. And at the end of the day, no one can ever actually know, apart from those that decide the Forbidden Limited list, what's actually going to happen and why it happened. So, from a player's point of view, we'll give our views behind it. And again, the whole list at the end of the video is not what we would expect to happen. It's not like, right, okay, cool. All of these 35 cards here, I would expect there to be 35 changes. And it's not that we're going to be picking on a particular deck. So, for example, the Draco Tales here, we've got Ketu, we've got Rahu, and we've got Phimena. When we talk about them, we're not saying that all three of those cards will be adaptive in one way or another, but usually or not, maybe one of those could be adapted. I actually looked at our previous list, by the way, as well. And on our previous list, we actually called quite a few correct. So we got Red Ransom, which is pretty much a no-brainer, and the Herald of the Art Light. That was a no-brainer. We called Ketu to 1, which was quite interesting. And then I think we also got the Black Wyvern and the White Collapse. So just saying. Anyway, let's dive into this. So we're going to start off with Radiant Typhoon. And the reason we're going to start off with Radiant Typhoon is, in my opinion, Radiant Typhoon is probably one of the more awkward ones to kind of address, because the deck itself is good, but it has its own consistency issues. Like, it has issues that make it like where it can lose to itself. So it's not a complete dominator. When you look at like branded Draco Towers and they've been topping consistently loads and loads of events, that is a deck that straight away screams to me it needs a bit of a hit. The only thing with Radiance is if you were to hit everything else, so if you did hit Branded in one way or another, which Branded is now starting to find its foothold in the format, and then you were to hit like I think Radiance could go through the next format with no touches, to be honest. I think they're one of the decks where you're like, right, let's see how Blazing Dominion format really affects them. So I picked two cards on here. Now, I'm going to talk about Radiant Typhoon Vision, and I'll let you talk about Radiant Typhoon Crusade, because I feel Vision is probably the easier one to justify. But I honestly don't. I think it's very tricky to actually decide what you would hit. So maybe you'll have a different card you're like, actually, that card's worse or like better for the Radiant Typhoon strategy. That should probably be hit. So the reason I'm going with Radiant Typhoon Vision is that it's kind of like the engine piece. It's a piece that is the splashable part of it. You can play it in Sky Strikers. You can search out your Mystical Space Typhoon. And don't get wrong, I don't want Radiant Typhoon Vision to get hit because I can spice it in with Dark Worlds. Like, there's my own personal bias on why I wouldn't want certain things to get hit. But then there's just taking logic into thinking, if Radiant Typhoon have to be hit to balance everything out, what card would I consider is a fair hit to take? And I think you could probably argue that because of how consistently easy it is to get to pieces like Crusade and get to Radiant Typhoon Vision, that you'd probably do that. And I don't think it needs to be anything massive. I would personally say that Radiant Typhoon Vision, if anything, would be a semi-limit. So that's kind of like my thoughts on that one. What are your thoughts, Shane, on either Radiant Typhoons in general, if you've got a different card you want to talk about, or maybe even specifically Crusade as well?
Um, I think Crusade is quite a fair card personally. I mean, when you look at it, it says, oh, adds one Radiant Typhoon card and MST, but it obviously does the wind lock. So it's not immediately splashable like other Radiant Typhoon cards. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could put it, to one, but I'd limit it. Sorry, but yeah, I don't think that would be um, probably correct. I mean, it's very interactable as well. It can be imperm, belled, ashed, you name it. You can stop Crusader with it. Um, Me personally, like if it was, if it Radiant Typhoon, apart from Vision, I don't know, maybe I'd consider uh maybe Swen hit because it's sometimes it's Swen, Vision, Chant, and Eldon. Um, so not Swen, I meant Eldon. Sorry, Eldon. Um, they're the ones that get splashed in pretty much every single when you see a Radiant Typhoon mix. It's always Swen and Eldon. So I think you probably maybe put Eldon to two. I think one would be a bit too harsh. Just as a little check. Just I know the deck has consistency issues anyway, but it maybe just makes it a bit less splashable at times. Maybe Vision to two, Swen to two. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is what I mean with Radiant being quite an awkward one to because it's not as much of an outlier as like Branded have only really started to kind of show their teeth. And again, I'm not taking anything away from it, but what I mean by that is they've only just won the Swiss Open. They're only
Mm.
just starting to get ticking, but they're not dominating. Um, Whereas with Draco Tal, if I was to just Google, let me see if I can have a quick look. Just gonna curiously see if I can find the most recent top index. So the top meta decks right now. I think this is all. I think I'm currently looking at Master Duel, so that's not good for anyone. But the whole idea is that with stuff like this, it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly where you would check it, and this is why I feel it could very easily skate by on the next list and not have to worry about um it yet. I
Yeah,
think there could be a lot later on down the line.
yeah. I don't know how recent this pie chart is I'm looking at, but the main slices across recent tournament, we've got 22% Draketail, 15% Yummy of some variant, and then Vanquish Soul at 10%, Radiant at 8%, Malice at 7, Mitsurugi at 7, Branded at just under 5%. So yeah, even across tournaments, like it's still quite well, it's not underrepresented, but if you look at it as a pie chart, it's not even a quarter. I think a lot of the branded results are from branded players that have played branded for yonks.
Yeah.
I just know the deck inside out. Um, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm just having a look here now as well, and there's a couple from like, so just if I go off the first page, okay, so we've got the Vancouver WCQ Regional. Top eight, we've got Fiendsmith Shining Sarcophagus, which was 3 weeks ago at 180 players. We've got Fiendsmith Yummy of 275 players, top eight. Radiant Typhoon Sky Striker RB, top eight of 220 players. Radiant Typhoon Mimigal Yummy, 275 players. K9 Vanquish Soul, Fiendsmith Yummy, Radiant Typhoon, Azamina Mitsurugi. And then we've got Brandy Dracatal, Azamina Mitsurugi. Wow, cool tune in Bosman WCQ, which is a week ago. I was 34 players. Brandy Dracatal for 24 players. 255 players was at Ignista Malice. Fiendsmith
Mm.
Azamina and Exo Sisters. So Dortmund WCQ was Malice still, 109 players. And then Athens WCQ was Orcust at 60 players. So I think that's something we'll talk about a little bit later on in regards to like Dragoon. You'll see that with the Azamina package. But yeah, I agree. Radiant Typhoon is a little bit awkward to kind of nail it down and be like, right, okay, these are the easy answers for it. I think it's actually probably the most difficult deck to kind of talk about and kind of nail on.
Mm.
So I'm going to leave Crossair. I kind of agree with you. I think Crossair is kind of fair. And I think the Radiant Typhoon Vision is more of a forceful kind of put one on there kind of vibe. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
next one. Now, the next one is Rose Whip. Now, this is actually just a future hit. So, for those of you unfamiliar with Rose Whip or unfamiliar as to why exactly that is going to be on this list, So Rose Whip is a level 3 tuner that can be summoned directly from the deck from Cool Tune Q, and it only allows your opponent to activate one spell card. And then when you combo that off with RS, that then RS negates the effects of any card on the field. I think on your opponent's side of the field. But the idea is if you negate the spell effect, they've already activated it, which means they won't be able to activate any more spells. So when you can get Rose Whip on the field, it's basically like a modern anti-spell. So I feel that this is a card that could very easily be hit. It's not a card you're going to limit, a semi-limit, or anything like that. It would be a card that you would straight outright, preemptively have to ban it. I don't think it will happen. I think it's going to be one of them cards that will survive for a format. We'll see it be used in everybody's side deck that's playing Cool Tunes. If Cool Tunes do hit the level of the level we expect them to hit in regards to how dominant people are expecting them to be. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. And you've recently played Cool Tunes in a Blazing Dominion tournament, Shane. So was there a lot of Rose Whip running around, or what was the vibe on that?
Barely saw it. In all honesty, I I omitted to put it in my main deck. I had it in the side deck because, in all honesty, Rosebud feels awful going second. I don't think it's an automatic inclusion for a lot of Cool Tune players. I mean, I think we'll hear a lot of some of the players recently will say they would rather side it because they don't want to see it going second because it is worse than useless. Um, unless they've got five back row, but you know, you're probably playing to more an established board of monsters. But um, like pivoting off towards even Master Duel, you know, I built Cool Tune with a new support on Master Duel as well, and it's come up for me a lot. But I don't seem to see a lot in the mirror matches. A lot of people don't seem to be summoning it, which yeah, it's very weird. Like, it gets banned in 5 days on Master Duel. So um, I think you're right. I think it will be around for a format because I just don't. Yeah, it's just gonna be one of the annoying cards that's there. I think maybe you just want to see what it does because you know again it's probably it's it's the Halki Firebrax effect of kind of ban cards around or limit cards around what the actual issue is, which would be Q, and obviously you can't ban Q because it's kind of integral to the deck, and the deck has just come to its full power. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was banned, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, I still agree with you. I think it will be around for one format, and then if it's a massive issue and it's constantly being an issue and constantly being a topic of debate, then yeah, that will probably be what seals the deal for it.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's just said so. Heat Haze Samurai basically said their worst fear is Cool Tunes is going to be worse than Tearlaments. I'm not sure if it would be because
Oh,
I think like the Tearlaments, it definitely has that factor. I agree with that, but I think that Tearlaments just had that like cool both excavate like 20 odd cards and then both chain like up to 10 chains. But maybe the mirror is going to be that bad because the mirror would end up being like, what, like Cool Tune Clip, Synchro, and then on the new chain you'll have like Chainlink 1 the graveyard, Chainlink 2 the graveyard, and then maybe you've chained something else. Like it probably could get, it could get very, very messy. But I will be shocked if anything Cool Tune related, apart from Rose Whip, would get hit on the next list, but it could be one of the ones that is expedited in for pace in regards to the next list. Right, the next one is a very very hot topic right now, and that's Fallen the Virtuous. Now, I saw a list that actually mentioned Albion and put Albion to one, and I thought that was a little bit crazy because I was like, the only thing that Albion would do if you put it to one is it hurts the budget players, not the competitive players, because it would make people go, right, okay, I've only got one Albion, I need to play Ecclesia the Darkest Dragon. Um, so to hit it to one, in my opinion, would be completely pointless. I still feel it's too early to hit the Fallen and the Virtuous as well. So don't get me wrong on this one. if I mean, you could argue semi-limit, but I would be amazed if they hit Fauna Virtuous. I'm just saying it's a topic that's gone around quite a lot lately. But we can't. We always get to a period like this. We've had it like last ban list and everything else before. People were like, "Oh, True Tactics Thrust is too busted. That needs to be hit," and now no one really cares about it. And then we've had like Forbidden Droplet needs to get hit, and then again, no one really cares about it. So, if anything, I could probably see Forbidden Droplet being hit, but I feel that cards like that are needed. Like Go Second cards like that are needed in a format where, Enfields are massively impressive, like multi negates and everything else in between. So personally, I don't think Fauna Virtuous should get hit yet, but I do understand why people are like, right, okay, cool. Fauna Virtuous needs to be hit. And if anything, in my opinion, I wouldn't hit Albion. I think hitting Albion to 1 would be pointless. Hit it to none, sure, but I still think that would be very extreme. It does turn Fallen the Virtuous into. It wouldn't even turn it into that big of a thing, would it? Right? Because like you would still just go Fallen the Virtuous, send the dragon that devours the dogma, right, and still get the search. So
Yeah,
maybe you just replace the album with that. So I think like you have to. Again, I could be wrong, and like you said, we might skate around the actual issue, and everything else get hit except the actual issue card itself. But I think Fallen Virtues is the issue with Fallen Virtues is the fact that it just replaces itself. But I don't think it's as busted as an individual card, if that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, this might be a hot take. I would like to see it go to 1 personally. Um, it's one of them cards where if you can play it, you play it. There's no debate. Because it's just such a good one-for-one trade, and it is a good card. And then if you're playing branded Dracotel or you're playing an Ecclesia package, you've got the option to special summon from your graveyard as well, which is an effect that's quite overlooked at times because it's normally used for its one-for-one removal. But the general reborn from either graveyard is actually crazy when you actually think about it. If you get into that position, um, I don't think it will go to 1. That's more of a wish list for me.
Yeah.
I think it probably will go to 2 uh, first, and then maybe go to 1. But you're quite right. I can see it being completely left alone this list again. I think until maybe the player base are really, really complaining. I don't think people are really complaining about it at the moment because everyone's using it. Um, Yeah, and I agree with that. The Albion hit doesn't do anything. It's like again, yeah, it just hurts the budget branded players. Um, there's a couple of ways to search it. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I find it quite
yeah.
fascinating. Like, I don't know if it's so like how with Genesis point updates. So with Genesis point updates, when they're released, they always release them with like a justification kind of thing. They're like, okay, well, we feel and we see that this card is a little bit to this and that, so we've increased its points. I don't know if that would be something that could be applied to a Forbidden Limited list. Um,
Mm.
but I think you're opening up a can of worms for it, to be fair. Anyway, okay, yeah, I agree with you as well. I think definitely for this list, I would be shocked if Fallen Virtuous is touched, but I wouldn't be like massively surprised. Let's talk about Dracotal. So with Dracotal, this is kind of like the main deck of discussion. So with Dracotal, we've got Ketu at 1. The next stage would logically be to ban it. We've got Phimena and we've got Rahu, which are currently all untouched. Now, I personally would say that you would either go ban Ketu and then limit. Oh, it's so harsh on a fusion deck though. And then maybe semi limit Rahu and not touch Phimena. Um, but now the more I think about it, maybe I would just say, right, cool, leave Ketu limited and then limit Rahu and still let you have your free Phimena. But then is that just not enough of a hit on Brown and Dracotel with how powerful they are?
I think I if you look at the previous deck build sets, they seem to follow a pattern. What was it? Risers all went to 2, the Malices all went to 2, and then they started to limit the problematic cards. Like was it X Riser went to 1, think Ice Riser was at 1 now. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think Swords at
Malice is a bit,
2, X is at 2, and Ice
yeah,
is 1.
yeah. Malice is a bit different purely because a lot of their problematic cards were extra deck or white binder as opposed to. I mean, the main deck's good, but I personally think it's going to be a limit for Rahu, semi-limit 5 mana. I don't think they fully want to kill branded Dracotail. I don't think. I reckon if it's just again, it has these love taps to the consistency. It still makes it a viable deck. I mean, it needs to be hit enough to be able to, promote dynamic growth for other decks to, for the format to diversify and change. But I think those would be good enough hits. Okay, yeah. So Ice 2, Sword 2, X1.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I reckon it would be Rahu to 1 and 5 mana to 2. Maybe even 5 mana to 1. I think that probably really, really hurts the deck. But I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I think those would be logical hits. Doesn't kill the deck outright, just makes it a lot less consistent. Lucius too could definitely be a good argument.
I
Again, it
think
just decreases consistency.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a deck that's not just going to get one hit. I feel that if on the next list, it's going to get multiple hits. The question is whether they make it playable or not. I feel that Fimena is an issue with the turn zero play, but it seems to me like that's what. So a few years ago, a lot of the competitive player base kind of said that they were like, right, how can you improve it for the player going second? And they were like, oh, well, maybe the go second player gets to draw their sixth card for turn already, turn zero. But it does seem to be that since Justice Hunters, maybe a little bit before that, that we've started to lean into turn zero plays. So you look at like Cool Tunes, they've got Cool Tune Clip. We had K9 Azuna. We've got Fimena as well. So maybe those cards stay, like those type of cards stay, and give you that turn zero play. Um, but then, like others are saying, maybe Lucius does go to 2, maybe Rahu does go to 1. I think the issue with Fimena, though, like turn zero, is unlike when you've got, I mean, even Clip does get you more advantage, and Azuna kind of does, nothing too wild. But I suppose the issue you have is once you resolve Fimena, more times than not, you're getting one, if not two, plays off the back of that Fimena, the fusion material you've used. Plus, you've got the option of the Arfulion to return. And that might actually cause a couple of issues. But I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. I think we're going to be getting multiple hits on branded Drekatau. I just don't know how harsh they're going to be. I think I quite agree, like you said, that they might keep it alive. So okay, some of these will start to pick up a bit of pace because I'm pretty sure we've been recording for however long now. Jesus, 26 minutes. All right, we'll start to pick up a bit of pace. Dimension Shifter. I don't think this needs much talk about it. I think it should be banned because I feel, at least I felt with it 3, if my opponent saw it, I'd be like, right, that's really annoying, but you've got 3 of it. Now, if my opponent sees it and they're only playing 1, I'm like, bro, what? Are you serious? Like, how sacky can you get? But that's just me.
I think it's getting banned purely because it says buy. I think that is wholly deliberate, as well as it obviously being like buy to all your cards. But it generally feels like it's a deliberate. Yeah, this card is going.
Deliberate troll.
But I think that would be very well received if it was. I personally don't mind Shifter. I find it a frustrating card, but I think it's also it's not a healthy card, but it does, you know, it does offer the going second player a little bit of, okay, you don't just get to set up your board. I get a go, but I get it.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Well, next we'll start talking about these in kind of like mini packages. So Fiendsmith. Now, to me, the most logical hit to make Fiendsmith fair is DDD High Wave King Caesar gets banned. Now, I'm not saying I want High Wave King Caesar to get banned because I actually like it and need it for DDDs. However, I feel that it's the biggest problematic card that you could get rid of without destroying the entire engine. Like, I don't mind if you end on Desiree, but to end on Caesar is a bit more annoying, in my opinion, anyway.
100%, I agree. I think if you ask most people what are their issues with Beansmith, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be having to stare down the Caesar. Um, Other than that, I think Beansmith is a perfectly fine engine. It's a nice grindy, you know, resource loop, which isn't oppressive. Uh, I mean, yeah, okay, you can make an untargetable multi-negate in Desiree, fine, not an issue. It's a one-time thing, like in relation to you just get that one instance to negate, whereas obviously they can negate two summons. Um, yeah, I personally think you ban highway. Unfortunately, sorry DDD players, but it's being used more in being used more in things with fields than it is in your own deck. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Collateral damage of the meta, I'm afraid. Okay, the
yeah,
next one, I'm just going to quickly jump over Wanted because we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But we've got Pearly, Delicious Pearly, and Sleepy Memory. Both of these went to, sorry, I don't know if they're in hot takes. Both of these went back to 2 on the pass list. They haven't done anything. And I think that if we enter a phase where we want to start to clear the list off, then I think you can very easily clear both of those off. That's just a quick,
yeah.
easy, wrap it, drop it, go. The next one. So this is where most of the Azamina builds are coming into play because the Azamina builds are playing 2 to 3 Diabell and 3 Wanted Seeker Sinful Spoils. So the question is, how do you address the Dragoon access? Now, I would be amazed if Dragoon was to get banned, especially when they've just done the extended arts, especially when they've got more Dark Magician support on the horizon that don't replace the boss monster that is Dragoon. They're not going to get rid of Gaze because Gaze, again, is also too new. So then it goes, right, well, what's the most abusable thing? And to me, the best engine to help spam that out and get you more is the Azamina package. Now, I'm not saying that the Azamina package will get hit, but I feel that when you look at Wanted and Witch and how long it's been around, and the fact that it gets you Ilya Sylvia, it gets you a draw, it gets you Dragoon, it gives you all of those pieces, and that could be splashed into any deck that has the space to do so, it starts to raise questions. And as we've already mentioned when we went through those deck lists a minute ago, the Shrine Sarcophagus, it might be a package you replace it with, but Stuttgart WCQ top 4 Azamina Mitsurugi, Switzerland National top 8 Azamina Mitsurugi, Stuttgart top 8 Azamina Mitsurugi, and there was another Sir Fiendsmith Azamina Mitsurugi top 4. So like a consistency hit to that kind of engine could be what would happen, to be honest. Like
Mm.
I reckon it'll be Witch or Wanted, and I think because Wanted gives you that draw, maybe Wanted is, and the fact that it's a quick play as well, maybe Wanted is the one that gets the hit. I think it's weird to put it to semi-limit. I think the engine would still function normally anyway. It would have to be a card you would limit in order to do that, to give it an effect on the engine that's being played. But it wouldn't kill the engine as well, because you would still be able to just play the Witches. It just decreases the consistency.
Yeah, I think so. I
Um,
agree.
we'll try and blitz through these a little bit faster. So the next one we've got is Vanquish Soul K9. Vanquish Soul K9 are still doing incredibly well right now. So we've got Holly Sue at 1, which if someone said to me you have to hit something on directly Vanquish Souls, what would you hit? Like, I don't mind Stake Your Soul. I don't mind Razen. Maybe Vanquish Soul Start. But then I thought like the most interactive single card in Vanquish Souls with the right attributes to reveal is the Holly Sue to be a summon directly from the deck or a snatch steal. So if someone said to me, you have to choose a card to get hit, Holly Sue would probably be the one that I would go, right, you ban. Honestly, I'm quite happy with Vanquish. Like I'm if Vanquish Souls and Canines didn't exist in tandem, I would be quite happy. I think Vanquish Soul would be absolutely fine. It would actually be quite a good deck to play. The fact they're in tandem with Canine is a bit of a crazy moment.
Mm.
I feel a lot of people want Ripper to be banned. I don't think Ripper will get banned. And the only reason I kind of say that is that Ripper only deals with hand and grave. So it only checks those two zones. Yes, it becomes a bit of an issue when Lupus is attached to it, but there are cards out there that don't worry about cards that can't be targeted. They just don't target. So Ripper is outable. It's not the most impossible thing to deal with. And if you're taking logic into account of how easy it is to drop a card from like 3 to none, is a lot harder than dropping a card from 1 to none. So I could see them hit Holly Sue. I could also I think the more logical one is that they would hit Canine Jockle. I think you could see them hit Canine Jockle and ban it completely, going from 1 to none. And they could follow suit. They could then do the Holy Trinity and hit Ketu from 1 to none, Jokal from 1 to none, and then Habakuri from 1 to none. And be like, right, cool, job done, we're happy. Now Cool Tunes can kind of try and balance the format out with all of the other new cards in Blazing Dominion. But I don't, yeah. I don't know where Canines go. I think if Canines don't have Ripper, they just become what? Nationite Turbo? Is that kind of what they would end up becoming, really?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there might be an argument for again, is like when you said mention Holy Trinity, maybe Azuna goes to one, um, or something, just again to stop the playability on the opponent's turn. But maybe that's a different conversation. Um, Howie Tech says an argument to ban Lupus, and that's actually a opinion I agree with because it's Lupus that allows you to pretty much effectively XE on the opponent's turn. Other than that, Azuma's just a forged burial. If you ban Lupus, you turn off the entirety of playing on the opponent's turn, and making that XE monster untargetable, which makes it feel like a little bit unfair. Um, so yeah, I don't think that's the worst opinion in relation to Lupus. Yeah, I don't see them banning Ripper. In all honesty, um, yeah, I could see Jockle ban. To be honest with you, they thought it was bad. It was bad enough for it to go to one. You know, they've hit other cards in other side deck builds. So
Yeah, I
mm,
mean, it could be one of them ones where it's like, where do you address? And like each person that plays against deck is going to have a different issue. So some people will be like, right, I was winning or I was doing really, really well, and then Ripper hit the field, or I was doing really well until Lupus hit the field, or I was doing really well until Holly Sue hit the field. So there's always going to be, or like I was doing really well until their last two cards they revealed a Jockle. Um, I mean, Noroi is also one that we haven't really talked about, but Noroi is just like a hand trap magnet because you don't really want them getting access to look at your hand. And then we say that again as well, kind of that then still opens up the door to um, it just opens up the door to like kind of other interactions, rank 5 decks and everything else in between. So it depends on where they want it to kind of balance itself back out on. Just trying to catch up on the chats here. So High Soul has basically just mentioned about High Wave King Caesar. So High Wave King Caesar is a collateral damage moment of Fiendsmiths. Like I think the majority of people, and some people might want to say otherwise, but the majority of people would say that the Enfield of Desiree is easier to deal with than the Enfield of High Wave King Caesar. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't cards out there because at the end of the day, Droplet deals with both of them. Imperm can deal with Caesar instead. But the question then becomes, what do you hit? If you don't hit Caesar, do you hit Neko Quip? But then it means that your opponent just needs to go into Lacrima and they still got the 2/6s to go. So, like, there's two different balances with it. Um, so I don't know. It's always going to be interesting to see. I feel that on the list anything could happen. If they were to ban Ripper, I'd be like, right, okay, cool, that's interesting. I also feel that Izuna could be a little bit crazy to hit as well because from a business perspective, which is sometimes what I like to take into account as well, you've got massive reprint value in Azuna. Massive reprint. You could reprint that, and that I don't think it would sell a set because I don't think it wasn't the hand trap that it was originally thought to be. But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Ripper was to get hit, but I don't think it. I think it's kind of like one of the Fiendsmith ones. I don't think it happens to happen it. Engraver to one. Um, yes, possibly. I think they would, if they were to do something like that, I think they would do something crazy and put track to 2 and engraver to 2. Um, I just feel that maybe what happens is more times than not, would they put engraver to 1, and then you would have to go what tracked add lorry. You'd still get the exact same outcome though, right? Because you'd still just go you'd go tracked add lorry, discard lorry, lorry summons back, goes into Requiem, Requiem tributes off, goes into Lacrima, Lacrima sends engraver from deck to grave. You can then equip Requiem, return the lorry, boom, there's your 2 level 6s. Um, so like I don't know, it could be a little bit crazy, depending on how you see it. I mean, Case for K9 is also maybe another card that could be considered to be hit, but it's just trying to take that logical approach. Would we see a card that's at 1 already like be pushed to 0 a lot easier, or do we feel that Konami are in a like this is us trying to get into Konami's brains? Like, do we feel that they would rather put a 3 to a 1 rather than a 1 to a none kind of vibe? So it's kind of the question of it. Um, yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee they'll hit the right things. Okay, let's talk about Miscellaneousaurus. I don't think Miscellaneousaurus needs to come back now, but this is a card that we always talk about on this. And the reason I say it doesn't need to come back is GMXs can kind of loop it themselves right now. But I don't think dinos are where they used to be. So like I could probably see Miss coming back. Like it's at 1, right? So bring it back to semi-limit, see how it does. If it doesn't have any effect on the bearings, you bring it back. And it also helps promote the GMX cards as well. It basically says like, okay, you can now protect more of your GMX cards. I think it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. To be honest with you, like I know Mist is a crazy card during the main phase, makes all dinosaurs unaffected, and but yeah, it does promote GMX a little bit. It does give dinos a little bit of power creep. I mean, I'm pretty sure dinos lose to all 3 mulch armies. Um, to be honest, like, I'm pretty sure it does loses to all the Charmies in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, Joel's gone to 2. That's great. Um, yeah, it might be one of the. I mean, because that we've dipped the toe with Misk in the past and gone from 1 to 2, and then like, oh there, let's put it back to 1. That wasn't quite right. Um, I would love to see it back as a previous dinosaur player. Um, I would, even if it was just for a format, I don't think it would be oppressive enough to destroy a format if it came back to 2. It would just be, oh, well, that's annoying. It wouldn't be like a format breaking, oh God, Miskers at 2 is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So I don't think everyone would. I don't think it's powerful enough for everyone to think, oh, I'm popping to Dino GMX. Um,
Oh no,
Miskers
yeah.
at 3 and Master. Miskers at 3 at Master isn't doing anything. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we have to be careful when we compare Master to the modern format. It's a Master was a very odd beast.
Yeah.
For some reason, cards that are at 3. I mean, Rise Heart is at 1. In
Is
the
it really?
in Master Duel, it is at 1. Yeah.
But aren't the other textures
Um,
hitting one way or another? I could be wrong though.
they was, but I think Fenrir is coming back to 3. Um,
Right.
um, but um, but yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I think stick it at 2 for format. Why not?
yeah, that's what I mean. It's either a hot take or it's a card that I could see that they might test the waters of and put it back to 2.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the next 3. So we had these on our last list. I don't think this comes back. The
Oh,
Chaos Dragon definitely doesn't come back.
well, Rise Heart is at 3 at Master Duel.
Is
Sorry.
it 3?
Yeah, I thought it was at 1. I thought it was at
um,
1.
okay.
Um,
So we got Chaos Space and I got Borrowed Savage Dragon. I feel that as much as I think that it would be nice to test Borrowed Savage Dragon coming back, I think it'd be absolutely crazy. There will be a way to, especially, well, no, because it can't really be played in cool tunes. Maybe Savage Dragon could come back, and it'd be crazy to see if it did. But I think, if anything, this is probably a hot take right now. The reason I mentioned Chaos Space getting a little bit of a bump is because I'm pretty sure the Chaos Space can help promote the new cards in Chaos Origin. Remember, we might have another Forbidden Limited list before Chaos Origin, but this could be a list that comes out it with Chaos Origin in mind. Like this list could last like 3 to 4 months, so it could be something that happens. Um, yeah, it would be very interesting to see. It'll be, I don't know. That's why I've kind of put Borderlands Stone's Dragon as a hot taking and Chaos Space is like a possible 7 limit, quite like Misk. Let's test it, see if it's still crazy as it is, and then build on from there. I don't know why I've got 2 Electromites, by the way, one secret and one common, but I'll deal with that later. Mitsurugi. Now, Mitsurugi are always quite interesting because they seem to be, they're no longer really pure. They kind of always need to have some form of hybrid. Now, initially, I was a Prez hater. Like, that card used to do my head in because it was always that good. I don't think they'll touch Habakuri. I think Habakuri is like absolutely fine, so I'm going to put that down to the bottom of the list. I think preparation only punishes the pure builds, and I don't think there's that many pure builds around. So that I'm going to put down to the bottom of the list. I don't know how, like, I'll let Shane talk about Mitsurugi. He plays it more than me, but I'm just going to have a look at the top lists that are topped with Mitsurugi and just see what they were on. Like, it looks like some were on. Well, this one's quite a cool one on Pure, actually.
Yeah, prayer is always, but yeah, it's almost always prayed at free, and for obvious reasons. Um, I don't think I don't know how much of an issue Mitsurugi is by itself. Really, it's when it's got the accompanying engines. Um, Habakiri at one feels fine. Um, it's a tough one because everyone was before Habakiri went to one. You know, it was kind of a do you hit Habakiri, do you hit prayers? Um, I could honestly see. No, I can't see them following because I think pre-prep is at one in the OCG. And I don't know about prayers if prayers went to one or not. Um, I can't. I don't think Mitsu doesn't need to be touched, but I don't see it not getting touched in some way. This is another little check due to how much it is.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
Um,
I don't think Mitsu themselves are an issue. I think the only issue that Mitsu have is just how good they kind of work with everything. Like if we look back to since when we got Mitsu, like when we got Habakuri, that's probably when the deck really took off. We've had pure variants, which were absolutely fine, but we've had them with what Ryziel, we've had them with Yummy, we've had them with Azamina right now. I'm pretty sure there was more versions that we've had as well. But like their ability to be as flexible as they are is quite crazy. But I think you're right. I think if anything on this list is we were to check Fiendsmith, if the Azamina was to be checked, then the Mitsurugi probably just skate through without an issue. To be honest.
yeah, I think so. I reckon it will be right. We hit them last format, leave them this format, and if they become the default best deck, then we'll hit them after.
Hit them again.
In
Yeah.
lead up to Chaos Origins. I mean, they will get a hit. They'll have to get a hit prior to Chaos Origins, I would say, purely because of uh, is there that new ritual card that just pretty much is just searches Habakiri. What's it called? Uh, 2 seconds.
I mean, is it King of?
Maybe the chat will be
There's a
there.
King of Demise that we haven't got yet, right?
Yeah, that's coming out as well. Yeah, so that is coming out,
End
which
of the
will
World
give
Ruler.
end of the world. What is the card? It is. Where is it? Decaying ritual records, that's it. Reveal one ritual spell in your hand or deck. If you do add one monster that mentions that from your deck to your hand. So it's literally just
Search
reveal, mirror,
Habakuri.
search Habakiri. So, I mean, that it might be a case that Habakiri gets banned before Chaos Origin. I personally could see happening because then you could just, again, run Mitsu in any single deck if you run 3 copies of that.
Yeah, so
Um,
Emerald Eagles just made a point in regards to with legendary modern decks delayed in EU. If this list is very soon, I doubt it would be touched. See, that would have been a logical argument if they didn't already do that to Summon Sorceress. So they've done that in the past. So America had Summon Sork. Um, had Summon Sork as a promo, and they were allowed to use it, whereas the EU players couldn't use it. We got it as a promo, and we only had it for like a month, and then it got banned. So unfortunately, product delays in EU are not taken into account, because what you need to remember is the Forbidden Limited list is America and Europe. It's like the whole of TCG. So they're not going to delay a list or change a list just for a region, which is crazy to me. But I agree with everyone though. I would be shocked if Mitsurugis get hit directly. I think if anything, what we'll see is we'll see the hybrids, like those quite like Halley Firebracks that we've already used as an example before. Some of those cards will get hit before they touch directly, maybe. Okay, so we've got up to Liga Dancer back here. I'm just going to quickly have my piece on Liga Dancer. I don't think Liga Dancer gets hit. I just, I would love it to, and Lunalights are annoying to play against, but they're not unbeatable. And especially with the fact that they've also confirmed the new legendary decks to involve them, it's I will be shocked if anything happens to them. And the reason that that's important is that's going to lead me to Electromite. This will be a hot take because I don't think it's going to happen. But Electromite is kind of, again, another one of them cards that's just always floating. It's a card that's always like, bruh, bring it back, bring it back. They could bring this back if they wanted to because of the Legendary Modern decks. However, because we've just got the brand new Pendulum Monster TCG exclusive, which basically does what Electromite does anyway, just without the draw, maybe we'll never see Electromite. So I'm also going to move a Rise Heart down. There's no way. I think the community will lose their mind if a Rise Heart comes back. Like, I think it's bad enough as it is with Dimension Fissure running around and Dimension Shifter. If they were to bring Rise Heart back, my God. Like, the reason that made Rise Heart semi-balanced before was the fact that you forced its activation, and then you could use Trill Tactic Talents to like steal it and then make your own one or whatever. Whereas with Trill Tactic Talents of 1, that's just not going to happen. Baguska as well. I'm going to quickly blitz over Baguska. A lot of people want Baguska to be banned, and it follows Master Duel and Genesis with 100 points and everything. I honestly don't think Baguska gets touched. I don't agree with it, but there are some decks out there that kind of need Baguska to be that one where they've been hand interacted to death. That they need to deal with it. Like, they need something to sit on. And I don't think, like, Baguska is oppressive, but I don't think it's as oppressive and as unoutable, especially with cards with Fallen the Virtuous running around, as everything else in between. I think it's kind of like another one of them ones that's like a necessary evil. And for them to ban it, I think would be a little, not extreme, but would just be probably a little bit unnecessary or a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's pick back up at Meow Meow. I'm going to let you take this one, Shane, because this is one of your go-tos.
Redirect to 1. I said it last list. I agree with Howie Tech. The deck is probably too slow now. Again, it will be another deck that dies a death to Charmies. So I personally think Meow Meow you can come back to 1. It will just be a pet deck. It will be, your person will take it to your regionals, your ISSs might get a top with it, maybe. Newer players don't know what the cards do. Everyone knows what they do. Well, most people should know what they do now. Yeah, Meow you definitely back to 1. 100%.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'd have got no issue with this coming back as 1. I don't think it's going to do anything. And I like the idea of clearing cards off the list that I don't feel are going to do anything. And then prove me wrong. If they do something, then just go, get rid of it. Drones, Sky Striker drones. This is always quite an interesting one. As we've talked about engines being splashable and generic, drones to be banned would make the most logical sense. Yes, they might not do it quite like Emerald Eagle said about with the legendary decks just coming out. But the thing with drones is it takes one consistency card away from Sky Strikers. And they're not really that short of consistency cards now, because when you think about it, they've got Reinforcement of the Army, they've got free ray, then they've also got they got free linkage that can lead them to 0. Now, obviously, I know that's not directly enough, but you then add free engage to that now as well. That then goes to 10 cards. So 1/4 of their deck is already consistency pieces. If someone said to me, drones gets banned, would you take it? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I can take that. Yeah, a card that we don't have that could come off the list is Eclipse Wyvern. I've got to remember what Eclipse Wyvern done. It's been so long.
Some sort of banish effect, I believe.
I think it was. I think it's like add a level 8 or level 8 dark or something. If it's sent to the graveyard, banish a level 7 or higher light or dark dragon monster from your deck. If this card is in the graveyard is banished, you can add that monster banished by this effect to your hand. So, yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head what would abuse that right now. So, it looks like they've got a chibi art. I don't know if that chibi art's official. But if it is, maybe we do see it come back and then they put that chibi art in Battles of Legend. That wouldn't surprise me. Okay. I'm trying to save the yummies to last, but I'll save Malice to last because I think Malice is quite a surprise factor. So Cupsy and Snatchy. I think Snatchy at 1 is fine. I've got no issues with that. I think the next kind of card that I look at and go, oh, that could be interesting, is Cupsy. Like,
yeah,
Yummy are still very, very much in the competitive scene. They are more so being used as an engine now, rather than a control, like the center focus of the deck. I can only think of Cupsy as the card that would balance it, not balance it back out, but like kind of level it a bit. What are your thoughts on that one?
yeah, I think sadly Cupsy has to go to 1. The only way Cupsy doesn't go to 1 is if you ban all of the cards or address the cards that are making Yummy so splashable. And let's be real, they're not going to address Camellia, which is part of the drones Kagari engine that makes, just play that in anything and you've got Yummy, instant Yummy access. If you ban drones, it kind of addresses that issue. I don't think pure Yummy is that much of it. Like, I'll say pure Yummy is that much of an issue, or in all honesty, I think it's
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a balancing game.
tough.
I don't think it's going to be everything gets hit in one go. But it's one of the ones where I feel that they could probably go, okay, this card gets knocked down a little bit. That's your consistency piece. Maybe if they hit drones, that kind of answers the question of, right, okay, well, that's what, 4 cards already that can't be used. Maybe that opens up the door to play more hand interactions.
Yeah,
So it's definitely, again, something to consider and something to think about. I would just be quite surprised if Yummy again skate through this list with no consistency hit. And I feel that Cupsy is probably the strongest one that could get limited to kind of balance that playing field a bit more.
yeah. I think Marsh Bowser 2 isn't a bad argument in all honesty.
Yeah.
Marsh Bowser does quite a lot. Really, it adds back. It effectively adds back surprise, and then when it's summoned, it can place you on the assist or anything like that. So yeah, I don't think Marshmallow to 2 is the worst call either. I think Cupsy to 1 and Marshmallow to 2 would be quite harsh, but
Yeah, I don't think we'll get a double here. We'll probably get a single hit on that one.
it'll be one or the other.
Okay, so Saruja, I also agree with Howie on this one. It doesn't need to be talked about. This was talked about during the last list. I'm basically trying to revisit cards that a lot of people talked about on the last list and now just gone completely quiet on. So Saruja is not an issue. That can safely go down there. Heavy Storm is a hot take. I think it would be funny if this card comes back, but the fact we've got Lightning Storm at 3, the fact we've got Triple Tactics Frost at 3, and the fact that we've got Harpy's Feather Duster at 1, I would be quite surprised if Heavy Storm comes back. But it could be interesting, like a Snatch Steal card. Like when you look at cards like Harpy's Feather Duster, Snatch Steal, I'm pretty sure Raigeki at some point as well. They're all cards that were like, I'm pretty sure were banned, and they've gone right here, have them back at 1 at some point, and then gone, oh, okay, let's see how that works. Sometimes they don't work, like Snatch Steal the first time it came back and then got put straight back on the ban section. But then sometimes it does work and then it stays around. So like Harvey's Feather Duster stays around, or um, Lightning Storm went from 2 back to 3. So I think it'd be interesting to see Heavy Storm come back to 1. I just don't know how much we'd kind of do on that one. Okay, so the last card we're going to talk about is Malice. So Malice are actually, I think they won the last round of the Austrian Nats today. Obviously, that's only day 1, day 2. They obviously won the YCS Vegas 3v3. It's a very interesting deck. It's one of them decks that, again, you think is dead after the last list, but then just rears its head again. So I've seen a lot of people talk about Marcher, and I've also seen a lot of people talk about Chessy Cat. To me, I think Chessy Cat's probably the more annoying one. So I would probably put Chessy Cat, if I was to hit any of them, to 2. But then all you're really doing with Malice at this moment in time is you're just slowly chipping one card away bit by bit. And you're like, bruh, really? Like, just if you think it's an issue, just deal with it. But like, constantly just chipping away at the deck, just either hit it or, you know, let it be. I would not be shocked if we was to see Chessy Cat. I would probably put I reckon Chessy Cat to 2 would be what I would expect to see. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Malice needs much of a hit personally. It's very. I agree again with Howie. It's a pilot dependent deck. You can't just pick this up and hope to see success. It definitely takes some sort of
Yeah.
nows to be able to navigate it. And I think if again Malice is one of those decks, if it inherently got more popular or more representation, we'll see what happened before Lancers come in, Meows come in, because it just inherently the deck just folds to Lancia. You know, like they don't do anything. Which you know, which was the recurring joke previously. You know, drop Lancia, so okay, cool. Um, yeah, I think yeah, I could see Chesney to 2, could see March Air to 2, maybe, but I'd be very surprised if they hit it. To be honest with you, um, I don't think it's too much of an issue. I think the people that think it's an issue are the people that maybe probably have lost to it quite a lot since it's since it came out. It's just why the index just doesn't seem to go away. I mean, it is seen nearly 8% of recent tournament like representation in topping, so it wouldn't be that surprising. It's not that far behind Radiant type thing. So
Yeah, I mean, again, I think you're right, and so is Howie. Like, it is definitely pilot dependent. So I would be surprised if anything did get hit with it, but it could be one of the ones that, like, what you need to remember is, like, if a deck starts coming into the limelight a little bit, I mean, we don't know these answers. Like, this is always, every Forbidden Limited list prediction video you see is always going to be speculation. It's always going to be people's perception and thoughts. And like I've already said, those people that put these lists together, myself and Shane included, we're always going to have different cards we go towards unless we have the exact same experience with those particular cards themselves. So, like, to me, I know the feeling of how sacky it is to either see Dimension Shifter at 1 or to be hit with Dimension Shifter at 1. So I'm like, I can see both sides of it. Like, it's massively annoying if you get hit with Dimension Shifter. So I would have no issue with it not being in the game anymore. But then there might be reasons out there as to, you know, why it stays around. I also fully understand about the Fimana as well. But I don't think... I think Fimana to get hit would be a little bit kind of crazy. If they were to hit that plus Rahu plus Ketu. But I feel that the deck definitely needs to be a bit of a balance. I don't know. It's always going to be fascinating to see. It'll be fascinating to see if any of this list is correct. I think there's a lot of it you can probably put down to, well, duh, in the form of the pearly spells. Like, what I'm trying to say is, okay, if both those pearly spells were to come back to 3, I would expect no one to make a video going, I called it, yeah, it went to 3. It's like, yeah, no, duh. Like, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to get that. It's also when on the last list as well, people were like, Herald gets banned. People watch the video and go, oh my god, Herald's banned, I called it, yes. It's like, bro, really? Like, anyone with like half a mind could have seen that Herald of the Arc Light needed to be banned. So I always find it quite funny. I want to see. I like to see that every list we have a bit of a list clear out, like 1 or 2 cards that can come back to 2. And I would like to think there are like people that watch the list or put the list together can kind of go, yeah, that's a little bit too much, or yeah, that's a little bit too strong. Maybe we need to change that. Maybe that can't be. We don't like these floodgate-esques. So anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much to Shane, for joining me on that one. Sorry, it's not even late. It's 9:10 for Christ's sake. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on this one. I think the next one I'm going to be considering doing is a tier list post Blazing Dominion, but I want to wait to see how because there's an American event next week and there's Irish Nats next week as well. So it's Irish Nats and then I think it's an American regional ? So that's going to be our first event.
YCS Columbus, I think, coming up
Columbus?
On the 23rd of May. Yeah.
What? Nah, we've got one next week. We're gonna Google.
Oh yeah, there's one. Yeah, but I think the first premier event is probably going to be YCS Columbus. I think.
I'm trying to think what it is. I'm not going to be able to Google all these in time, but there's definitely Irish Nats, and I've definitely seen people needing them for an American event, like the Blazing Dominion cards for the American event. So it'll be quite interesting to see what happens there. I think we're going to see a lot of cool tune be represented. We're probably going to see a couple of road decks. Like I wouldn't be surprised if trains are up there as well, which is going to be really fun to see. And it'll be quite interesting to see what kind of takes its place or what gets represented. And to be fair, a deck that we haven't really talked about is Magnets. But honestly, I think it's too early for Magnets to be hit directly. I think, again, that'll be one of the ones where Fiendsmith probably take the hit for them. And then it kind of comes back swinging.
Oh, bless me. Sorry.
Cool. Anyway, thank you so much for every single one of you that watched live and dropped the comments and got involved. So Howie, Skylick, Dio, trying to go back over the names, Emerald Eagle, Heat Samurai, Ryanst, just so many of you guys. Hi Soul, Brian, the Yugioh, apologies if I butchered that one. Justin, Brandon, Tommy, David, Link is big, Deepwater Trading, Nidhogg, mate, I'm trying to go back here, Max. Yeah, thank you so much, every single one of you that got involved on this one, and then thank you every single one of you that comments on the upload afterwards. Like I said, this is pure. We've tried to bring reasoning behind certain selections. I'm not saying this entire list is what happens, and I tell you what, anyone that skips to the end of the video, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this first so that I can reset it. But if you're watching this and you skip to the video, I'm gonna ruin your. If you just skip to the video and go, oh, that's what their Forbidden Limited list is like, I'm messing with you now, all right? This is not what I'm. You can watch the chaos unfold. Just ban everything. Electromite back to 3, why not? Engraver banned. Liger Dancer banned. March Hare banned. And Baguska banned. There you go. That's a crazy looking ban list right there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Okay, we've got to end on this one. Bad discussion already. There's no sign of Ash. Ash is a necessary evil. Like that card, the amount of times that Ash saves you from being hit with Branded Fusion, for being hit with a Fuelos, a Perudia. Like, yes, it's annoying to get hit with Ash, but Ash, it can be just as much a savior as it is a hater. I guess that's the right word. Savior. good guy, villain. I don't know. Pros and cons. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.